Welcome, people, to the #1 football podcast in town, Victory and Vices. Me, Rory Spooner, James Beck, back again. Episode 45. Jokes on you, we're still alive. They thought we wouldn't get past 4.5 episodes. Fuck you, we're still here. Alright, cool. Transfer stuff. I know this is the weirdest transfer window ever. We were just discussing this before we came on. Everybody's doing something, but at the same time, they're doing absolutely nothing, apart from Arsenal, which we will start with. So, yes. Nicolas Pepe, the Black Iron Robin, as someone described him on Twitter.
Calling him, yeah.
Talk to me about what you think about that thus far.
This is a very interesting one, actually, because it's kind of come a little bit out of nowhere, isn't it?
Do you know, there's so many clubs linked with Nicolas Pepe.
Yeah.
And Nicolas Pepe was linked with Liverpool, with Napoli. Not that I think Napoli had that type of budget. Not that we Arsenal had that type of budget. We'll go into that in a minute. But yeah, it was. I didn't expect his name to crop up as one of the top signings of the transfer.
Yeah, and not just that, him to actually look like he's going to go to Arsenal. I think the fee has been agreed. Yeah. It's just sort of the medical and the final details.
Medical's underway, yeah.
But it seems this whole fucking time, Arsenal have been blowing us one big smoke
Arsenal transfer masters.
Oof,
transfer masters. Can you believe that this club, right, they were holding their hand like this the entire time, just waiting for everyone else to throw their hand down and go, you know what? We got you.
And you know what?
Fair play to them. Now
I've heard the explanation from Josh Kroenke and other senior figures at the club. It makes total sense.
Yeah, explain what that is for the people that are watching this, because we discussed it before we came on. What did he say specifically?
Yeah, so a little bit of context. So as we know, us and many Arsenal fans have sort of been slating off Arsenal for the entirety of this transfer window so far, fair to say.
Oh, hugely, massively.
Because it came out prior to the window opening that due to the lack of Champions League football, once again, that they would only have, was it £45 million to spend?
Give or take. Give or take, yeah.
Yeah, give or take. And we've obviously based a lot of our transfer videos, the speculation, the rumours, around that sort of war chest. Well, not a war chest, a lack of a war chest of £45 million. And we've sort of been saying, you know, they can't look at this player and why they're bidding this much money for Zaha when, you know, they've only got this much money to spend on so-and-so players. But Josh Kroenke and other members of the Arsenal sort of board of directors, they've since come out when questioned. You know, obviously they've put bids in for Zaha and now Nicolas Pepe as well. When asked where this money's coming from, they kind of just said, "Well, we always had this money."
Yeah.
We're currently a Europa League team, but we've got a Champions League club budget.
Arsenal fans are smiling right now.
And when pressed further, he kind of said, "Well, we never said we had 45 million to spend.
Everyone else did.
Yeah.
People assumed.
Yeah. Why would a club tell everybody else how much money they've got to spend? Because it weakens your position.
It does. It weakens your stance. And you know what I've learned? Assumption is the mother of all fuck-ups. It really is. Well played, Arsenal.
I didn't see it coming.
Bro.
When they had no money.
When it was the Lille president came out and said Pepe has agreed to join a club, I was like, there's no way this Arsenal. No way are they spending that type of money. But that leads nicely into my next question for you. Is that a necessary signing or is it a luxury signing?
I think it's definitely a luxury signing.
I'd agree. And a lot of Arsenal fans feel the same as well, actually.
There's sort of, yeah, it's not what they need, it's more what they want. Now, I was looking into this in a bit more detail, and whilst we know that they have bigger issues defensively, last season, a very large proportion of their goals came from Lacazette and Aubameyang. Right?
That's true, yeah.
And I can't remember the exact figure, but it was something like out of the games in which them two did not score, Arsenal only won, I think it was 4 games.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Yeah, got you. Yeah.
So they're basically making the point that they still do need goals elsewhere. Yeah.
No, and you know what? I agree, because Iwobi is not necessarily the most consistent option. Yeah. Mkhitaryan is not generally the most consistent option. Mesut, he shows up in the home games, in the away games. Do you trust him, really, Arsenal fans? It's difficult to say. The issue Arsenal have moving forward now is, okay, Pepe comes. You spend that type of money on a player who is then a club record signing. It's very difficult to drop him, right? And then you've got Mesut, who is on 350 bags a week. Very difficult to drop him. Can you play with a front four of Lacazette, Aubameyang?
I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be, well, I think they would have to revert to a 4-2-3-1.
Yeah.
And have Lacazette up top.
With Aubameyang on the left.
Yes, and Nicolas Pepe on the right.
Yeah.
Like Zaha, he has been deployed as a striker on occasion, but he primarily likes to be on the right, cut inside onto his left foot.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Hence the comparison to
Arjen
Robin.
Yeah.
So he could be the right, Aubameyang left, Lacazette up top, and either Ozil or is it Ceballos?
Ceballos, yeah. Ceballos.
He's on loan, right, isn't it?
Yeah, Arsenal apparently paid 15 million on loan. Now, initially I was like, is that a good deal?
Money.
It's a lot of money, but at the same time, as a short-term fix, it's not the worst idea.
We're going from now really criticising Arsenal's transfer business to
very smart.
Let's look at potentially what could happen, right? And the thing with the Nicolas Pepe deal, because a lot of Arsenal fans and other people are probably wondering, well, still, why not Zaha? If we've got this money, why not Zaha? And Everton are making big bids. They've had a second bid just this evening. And for those who don't know, the main reason is that Arsenal are allowed to broker the Nicolas Pepe deal in instalments and basically not paying it up front, right? Now, Crystal Palace, they didn't go for that.
They want more up front.
You look at the Wan-Bissaka situation, United tried to give 35 with 15 million of add-ons. They didn't want it. Eventually, we had to pay them the 50 million, right?
Yeah.
Exact same situation with Zaha. Arsenal have tried putting a 40 million bid in with little extras and add-ons based on them qualifying for the Champions League, things like that. Things that Palace didn't necessarily want to go for.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard with the Nicolas Pepe deal, it'll only be about 30 or 40 million that they actually stump up now, with
the rest is
spread out.
Yeah. Over the course of his contract, as I think we discussed the last episode, if you've got a 5-year contract, it's generally spread over that contract term. Yeah.
So, say Arsenal only spend, say, 30 to 40 million on Pepe as of now.
Okay.
The William Saliba deal, again, what I'm hearing from that is they've agreed to purchase him, and he's gone back, but they don't actually need to pay the £25 million until next season.
Oh, okay.
So it's a deal that's been struck up in principle, but it's not yet been paid. And it doesn't paid the next season. You then take the Ceballos that they've got on loan.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and people wondering where the money for Kieran Tierney is, well, all of a sudden it's there because they've got one for the future that they're not paying for now, who's coming next season.
Yeah.
They've got one player on loan. They have one of the hottest prospects in Europe in terms of stats, because he was the second highest goal scorer
after Mbappe. Yeah, I saw. I watched his goals and they were very impressive. He's got a sweet left foot line. I noticed that acceleration over the first 10 yards that allows him to get away from a player. He is very Arjen Robben like in the way that he kind of blasts down the right and then cuts in and he scores the same goal every time. But you just can't stop him. I'm going to be interested to see Pepe.
Well, I think it was aside from Messi, is he the only player to have more than 20 goals and 10 assists?
I would have to check. I'll take your word, man. I'll take your word, and I'm not sure.
Obviously, there's players who scored more goals, but as a combined goals and assists
tally, yeah,
he's only the second player in Europe, aside from Messi, to have 20 plus goals and 10 plus league assists.
It's very impressive.
Yes, that is the French league, and obviously doing that in the Premier League is a different animal altogether.
How old is he? 23.
I believe so. Yeah.
He's got another level to go, I think.
But what else can you do? You've got to sign the hottest talent, and
I mean, look, you can only take a chance in him, and if he does his thing, he does his thing, right?
So fair play, Arsenal.
Do you know what? Arsenal have gone from being under the radar to being all over the radar, shitting on the competition, shitting on them.
So
mad.
If Arsenal can if Arsenal can get the Kieran Tierney deal done, yes, I still think they need a top centre half now. But
I think it's a little late in the window unless they pull something miraculous out of the bag. A lot of teams now will look at Arsenal and that transfer fee and go, okay, so you do have money. And they've had to expose their hand a little bit now. So in that respect, I think it'll be very hard for Arsenal. I mean, I watched Arsenal Fan TV after the Emirates Cup, right, against Lyon. They lost 2-1, and their main concern was the same theme, is that defensively we are not ready for the season. And again, people are saying, look, essentially everything me and Becky they have said on Arsenal Fan TV. Monreal is a good backup left back, but he's not first choice. We need another centre half. We need another right back to compete with, with Hector when he's back from injury. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. Arsenal are essentially playing the you score 3, we'll score 4 game next season.
I mean, if they sign, Evan, who we now expect them to sign, that would be a decent window for Arsenal.
Yeah, it's not bad.
A lot better than what they probably would have anticipated based on only thinking they had £45 million to spend. So
Yeah.
you can only do so much, and I think they would have overachieved if everyone comes in with that.
Yeah, interesting. So that was one of the two biggest stories this week. The second biggest story, everybody's favourite ponytailed Welshman, Gareth Bale, a.k.a. the China Man. Or is he the China Man? This is what we don't know, people. Now, you said he was going to... Well, did you say he was going to stay, or did you say he was going to...
I just said he wouldn't go to China.
Yeah, I vaguely remember. I vaguely remember neither of us agreeing, but we both said there's no way he's staying at Madrid. Yeah, and apparently, and this is all apparent because I've been doing my research on Twitter via, you know, all the little back channels and the in the nose and the fucking all the tier ones in there, you know.
Yeah.
So basically, Gareth Bale wants to go to China.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
Looks like he does.
He wants to go to China. Apparently, the golf courses are great, and a million a week, you know, plus sponsorship, and the interest his bank account is already accumulating. It's a sweet fucking life, let me tell you. And Real Madrid, after getting thumped, dicked on by Atletico.
Was it 7-3?
It may as well have been 73-3. They were that bad, right? I think they were 5-0 down at half-time. We were just discussing Hazard before we came on. He is apparently a stone overweight. I saw the most unflattering picture of Hazard ever. Poor fucker, man. Honestly, I know from Instagram, right? Angles and lighting are essential. Yeah. And whoever captured Hazard made him look like a fat fuck in that picture, right? I don't know if he is, but he did look overweight.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been Photoshop, could have been edited, certain filters, angles. You know what people can do these days, but it didn't look good.
Didn't look good, no. And that's why apparently Bale is going to be staying now. And Bale is furious. He's refused to travel to, I think it's the Munich Cup in Bayern. And he wants to go. He doesn't want to play for Zidane. Zidane does not want him there. This is it's a mess.
Well, his agent, Jonathan Barnett, said that his family and everyone were ready to go. But I think it's Florentino Perez who's just pulled the plug.
Yeah, he said no.
Now, whether that aligns with Asensio's bad injury.
And Ceballos going as well.
Yeah.
They're lower numbers.
But the situation now is it's strange because Zidane doesn't want him there. Doesn't like him. Doesn't see him in his plans. Yet Florentino Perez all of a sudden is doing a U-E. He's doing a U-turn and he's like, actually no, I want you to remain at the club.
It's like a skirt, come back around.
I'm not disappointed in a way because I think China's a bad move for Bale anyway.
No, I think it's perfect.
We'll have to agree to this.
We're going to agree.
Right?
I'll be coming to this next. Don't worry about that, but that's fine.
So obviously it's fallen through. Has he got anywhere else to go? I don't know. It's a bit late in the window now, but it's
well, no, the Spanish window's open till end of August.
Yeah.
And the Italian window's open till the start of September. Did you know that? What the fuck? Like, are the Premier League doing?
The problem is now is that Madrid have created their own problem because when when Zidane came back to the door as manager, he would have outlined things that he wanted, right?
Hugely.
Now, and he would have said that Bale isn't part of his plans. Do you know what the funny thing is, though? Do you know who the manager at Real Madrid was when Bale signed his last contract?
Mourinho.
Zidane.
Oh, was it Zidane?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it wouldn't have been Mourinho. I was thinking of Lopetegui as well. Sorry, it wasn't Lopetegui.
So, Gareth Bale, right, was allowed to sign a contract under the manager that is Zidane.
Zidane, yeah.
Now, it really confuses me that if he really didn't like a player that much, why would he allow a contract?
I think that's political pressure. Yeah, I think that's
because they've created themselves a situation now where they've got the president doesn't want a player to go, but the manager isn't going to play him.
What do you do next? Catch-22?
Well, I'm not in the business of feeling sorry for multi-millionaire footballers, right? Because he's going to be, the contract with China was he'd have £1 million a week, which would be £52 million a year. Obviously his agent was pushing that because he's probably going to get 10% of that, if not 15%.
Well, apparently agents get 15-20%.
So you're talking about £7.5 to £10 million,
plus
right?
signing on fees as well. So
obviously he was pushing that.
Oof, I will be as well.
But obviously Gareth Bale, staying in Madrid, he's going to be on, I think it's
600k a week.
Yeah, it works out about 17 to 20 million a year.
It's not bad, man, is it?
Yeah, he might sit on the bench, but sooner or later, whether it's January or whatever, he's going to go.
Yeah, well, we went over Bale's options in the last episode and we broke it down, actually, I thought very articulately. I thought we did quite well. I mean, I'll let you all be the judge of that if you want to go back and watch it. I shared a tweet. Now, Becky will smile at this. I shared a tweet, right, from TalkSport on the VMV page from Georgie Bingham. Now, I don't want people to think this is a male versus female thing, or we're slighting any females on here, because Alex Scott is a favourite of the show.
And we dig people like Dean Saunders and stuff all the time.
Yeah, exactly, right. And Alex Scott can come on whenever she wants. You know, we'll treat her well. Whatever she wants, she can have, right? Georgie Bingham. Now, I don't know where to start with this, because it was the most stupid, inarticulate, crap opinion I've ever heard on TalkSport. And TalkSport have some belters on there, right? They have some absolute idiots. This girl is getting paid to be on there, right? And she has a career in sport, talking about sport. We're coming for your job, Chica. Just know we're coming for your job. Your job is not safe whilst we are awake and working,
You're
right?
vulnerable now.
You are in a vulnerable position. She said Gareth Bale is an idiot if he goes to China, right? And offered no context on it. That was bad enough. I sat there and I was thinking, this girl doesn't know what she's on about. And it's not a female thing, this is a man thing, it's a people thing, you know, if you want to be...
This person doesn't know,
This person, for all you other people out there that don't like gender, this person doesn't know what she's talking about. And then I'm watching the video and I'm sat there and I'm scratching my head, I'm thinking this can't get any worse. And do you know what she said? She turns around and she says, he's got everything to prove. I'm like, wait a minute. The guy's won 4 Champions Leagues, carried his country on his back to the Euros, scored one of the greatest goals in a Champions League final ever. And she turns around and says, he's got it all to prove. Unlike Rafael Benitez, who's gone to China and has nothing to prove. I'm like, are you fucking shitting me? Are we watching the same landscape of football here? Rafael Benitez has nothing to prove. What? Is she mad? Is this girl actually shitting me? Rafael Benitez has nothing to prove over Gareth Bale. The man has single-handedly in 30 years done more in that 30 years than Rafael Benitez has done in almost 60 years.
Oh, we just needed the gif here. Did you go, hold up?
Wait a minute.
Something ain't right.
Something ain't right.
That was one of those moments.
Something ain't right.
Yeah.
Something ain't right that she has a job, discussing this and getting paid until she gets paid a salary or she gets paid hourly. Look, love.
P45.
You out the door. You out the door. Oh. What are you talking about? Oh, dear God, I cannot believe she said Rafael Benitez has nothing to prove. Becky came on this podcast right after Benitez went to China. What the fuck are you doing? That's the first thing you said.
Yeah.
Why are you going to China? He ran and he took the money. The same thing Bale is doing. Bale is an injury-plagued 30-year-old that if he gets a 3-year contract with someone, won't play for a minimum 12 months of that. He's going to be out for at least 4 months a season. No one is going to take a risk on Gareth Bale for a transfer fee and minimum 500 grand a week. No one's going to do it, right? This girl offered no context on anything.
Yeah. And that's what made it worse, was that she just made a statement that she didn't give any substance to it.
Bro, there's no substance to it. You didn't back it up.
I mean,
oh, my God.
If she'd at the very least have turned on and said that if Gareth Bale decides to go to China, she would have thought it would have been a really poor decision. If she'd have said that and then gone on to say that...
Explain why.
Yeah. And
offer us in-depth
analysis. She'd have said something like... you think a professional footballer of his talent would perhaps still see that there's still someone left in his career, or there's other opportunity, and he can try and push him.
Oh, Jesus,
but
bro.
Yeah, the way she just went, he's an idiot, and he's got everything to prove. He's got nothing
Lord
to
have
prove.
mercy, that guy has nothing to prove. If there's ever a guy, right, that has very little to prove, it's him. Like, I mean, what do you want him to do? Realistically, right, there's only 2 clubs that are going to challenge for trophies over the next 3 to 5 seasons in the Premier League. It's Arsenal and Liverpool. Sorry, Arsenal. Fuck, I got Arsenal on the brain. Man City and Liverpool, should I say?
I was like, what the fuck?
Damn, we just fast forwarded 5 years. No, so it's Man City and Liverpool. He can't be accommodated in those 2 sides. Where do you put him? And they're not going to pay the money. Liverpool have about 2 teenagers. They're not buying Gareth Bale.
The only thing that we said was PSG, wasn't it? That's the only one that could possibly even look to do
Until
it.
Neymar's gone, he wouldn't be there.
Or United.
Even if he did 1 season in China, right, picked up did a Tevez, got 52 million, right, and said, you know what I'll do, I'll go to China for a year, chill out, right, manage my body, get a nice wage. Before the Euros starts, I'll analyse what clubs need what, and then after the Euros, I'll go to my agent, okay, can you place me at any of these clubs? Because I imagine if Neymar doesn't go this season, you'll go next season, right? That would be perfectly okay in my eyes. Because he's got nowhere else to go. Why spend the season on the bench? Go play football in China.
I don't personally think there's a comeback route for him, though, once he goes to China. I was listening to a very interesting piece.
That's a valid point, actually. Yeah, now I think about it.
I was listening to an interesting piece the other day, and there was someone who was describing the level of football in China.
Yeah.
They were saying players like Alex Teixeira. There was a couple of other players. Yeah,
Oscar.
And they listed another couple of players, and they were saying how, like, in the early stages, they were absolutely tearing the Chinese league up, right? Because the defensive quality out there is pretty much non-existent. They're saying it is getting better, but the amount of money that they're having to pump into the league for just minimal gain of quality
is huge,
right? So, one, they don't think it's sustainable. Not that if you're going to go out there and get paid £1 million a week, you really give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any players, or you correct me if I'm wrong, right? But I haven't seen a player of sort of elite or world-class quality that's gone there and come back to another club.
Other than Axel Witsel. I think, did Axel Witsel spend a season in China?
Did he go a season? He went back to Dortmund.
And he went back to Dortmund, yeah.
But like, he was, like, I get what you mean. He was a good player. He's not like an elite
player. No, you're totally right.
And a different stage of his career. I can't see Bale, because even if...
Would you classify Carlos Tevez in that bracket? Or was he past that stage?
I think he was on his way out, but he went to Boca then, didn't he?
Well, he went to Boca, and then he went to China for a season.
Yeah.
And then he went back to Boca and basically said the standard of Chinese football is shit. I didn't enjoy it. This is what I found strange about the Carlos Tevez situation, right? And I read up about it after the Bale thing. And again, if anybody gets a chance, do read up about it. It's pretty fascinating. What they were saying about Carlos Tevez is this, right? The guy who earned the best part of 30 million. He disliked the food. Now, Reese, who comes on this podcast, as you may have seen, travelled around Asia, and he was like, yeah, you know what, the food is shit. It's not like Chinese food in the UK. It's completely different. If you're earning 30 million a year, bro, hire a fucking chef. Are you mad? What are you complaining about food for when you have you have everything at your disposal? The whole world is at your fingertips, and you're complaining about food. Carlos Tevez, all you have to do is hire a chef, hire a fucking personal trainer, right? Have a little bit of ambition to get up in the morning and just be like, you know what, it's for a year, let me just make it happen. I'll dip out, make everyone happy, we'll all leave on good terms. That guy was pictured at Disneyland when a game was on, bro. Like, he took his kids to Disneyland. Chinese fans, who are some of the most smiley, happy fans in the world, fucking erupted at this guy.
Yeah. And
taking the piss.
And that, I think, is part of the problem now. I'm not saying that Bale would have that attitude.
No.
But I think the level of quality and competitiveness is so low there that I imagine it probably, like, not that you'd get bored of earning that amount of money a week, right? But
I would never get bored of earning
that amount
of money.
But for someone of his quality, who's used to playing in the best leagues in the world against the best players, competing for the best trophies in the best stadium in the world, like, I would imagine after a couple of weeks or a few months, you start to get up in the morning and kind of think, man, this is kind of shit.
It's a drag.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. You have the games that you live for, the big games, no longer exist, so you're kind of treading water a little bit.
And it's like, I know. And I would imagine you wouldn't perform as well as you would in the top 5 leagues because the opposition's not as high. You don't need to play as well. You wouldn't get us up.
You're kind of in neutral all the time.
Yeah, your adrenaline doesn't go. You don't get the butterflies or the nerves in games anymore. And I just don't think... I think if Bale goes to China, or if he did end up there where it's now or later on, I think his career is over in terms of him even trying to get towards the top level.
I imagine they would ask for a transfer fee if he ever left as well, which might be quite difficult. Yeah. Given the fact I don't know if they're fully aware of Bale's probably true value. They might be... What's the word I'm looking for? They might over-exaggerate it a little bit. But Bale's interesting, bro.
I just think that, just to finish, I think if he has any aspiration of still playing at a high level of football at all left in him, I don't think it's a wise enough choice yet to go to China.
Yeah, well, like I said, for me, just call it quits, bro. Just go, earn your money. Your body's not going to handle another 3 seasons of top-level football anyway. Get the money, enjoy yourself, nothing left to prove.
But for now, it doesn't look like...
Well, I mean, look, the Spanish window is open for another month, pretty much. So, I mean, it's definitely subject to change. It's not going to be a mad rush like the British window. So, there is room for that to evolve again, especially if Pogba arrives. I was reading that Pogba leaving United is wholly dependent on Bale leaving Madrid. It's like a domino effect. So, you have Bale would leave Madrid... Pogba would then leave United, and then United would bring in whoever they want to bring in, which would allow other clubs to bring in whoever they want to bring in. So it starts with Bale. I can't see that resolving itself in the next 2 weeks, but that's just me anyway. But yeah, we'll draw a line under Bale. Just wrapping up some other news. We talked about Everton offering. Everton offered 55 million plus Cenk Tosun and McCarthy. At which point Palace said, "We'll take 55 million and McCarthy. we don't want Cenk Tosun in any deal." Cenk Tosun and Phil Jones must be the two hardest footballers to sell right now, because no one wants those fuckers.
Wish we could just offload Phil Jones as a thank you for just negotiating with us.
I just pay up his contract and tell him could become like a landscape gardener or something. When we say people have got nothing to prove in football, that man's got nothing to prove anymore. We already know he's shit, right? Just call it a day, Phil. I'm sick of seeing you in a United shirt. Do you want to go into United now, or do you want to do it after the interval? Do you have anything you want to bring up? United is quite extensive in terms of what we were going to do.
Yeah, we won't go into them until we go past the interval, is it?
Yeah, there we are. No, that's cool. We'll do United afterwards, because we got a little bit to talk about with United and everything that's going on. What do you think of Liverpool signing the lad from Fulham, the 16-year-old? I forget his name.
Harvey Elliott.
Harvey Elliott, yeah.
I feel like a few people sort of mentioned his name. With these youngsters, it's one of those cases that you hear about them before you see them play, right?
Yeah.
My first thought is his haircut's going to get rinsed.
Bro, he looks like every single 16-year-old that's at an academy club. I imagine he's rinsing his Instagram. He's fucking got Balenciagas on his feet. I already know his type. Shout out to him, though. I mean, he's living his best life.
Klopp is saying he's going to get game time. I'd imagine they'd make him get a haircut, or I would. But that aside, jokes aside, it's just one of those, there's not much to say on the sign. He seems like he's a great talent.
He's clearly a talented
I feel he's a brilliant talent, because there's other clubs like Barcelona, Madrid, other European.
When you're 16 and playing at that level, it takes some confidence.
Yeah. And they were after him, so kudos to Liverpool from sort of for getting that deal sorted.
Yeah.
Klopp saying he's gonna get game time. I can't really see him having that much game time.
I was gonna say, bro, in terms of his development, because we talk about stepping stone clubs a lot, right? And this is something that's a feature for me and Becky, especially when we become football agents over the next 10 years, because we will take over the world at some point. But again, game time, right? You've got Ox, you've got Fabinho, you've got Lallana, you've got Keita, you've got Wijnaldum, you've got Henderson.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? There's other midfielders I'm missing as well, probably.
Yeah, there are.
There's probably other midfielders. But if you're a 16-year-old trying to get game time amongst that, bear in mind they're the current European champions as well. Yeah. That's difficult, bro. I don't know if that's the right move.
I feel like what will happen is, obviously Klopp is saying the things that Harvey Elliott wants to hear, the club wants to hear, Liverpool fans want to hear. And he's saying that he's going to get game time. Maybe he will get a little bit of game time early on, just to sort of show that he's a man of his word, maybe in the cups. But ultimately, I can see him going out on loan. You look at players like Ben Woodburn, Ryan Brewster. Yeah. They have some good prospects.
Oh, Brewster is a hell of a player, bro.
But they often end up on loan. And I think the same is going to apply to Harvey Elliott.
I think, again, we talk about it all the time, but that cluster of clubs beneath the top six, if he had gone to a Leicester, to a Bournemouth would have been a great club for him as well. Watford. Somewhere you can develop in a bit of peace, right? There's no expectation, and you will get game time as soon as you. I'd say he's usually once you get to the 18-year-olds who they're about ready, so they get thrown in. He's a little younger, so he'd get thrown in ahead of them probably. So I don't know. I think it's the wrong move for him personally. I think he could have done. Not maybe a better move, just a smarter move. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, financially, by the time he's 21, that kid is going to be made.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
He's going to have no money problems. And whoever was, telling him to move, they've got their 10 or 15% as well, right? So, look, ultimately, they're not doing too bad from it either. And when it's time for contract renewals, again, they'll do very well too. But I don't know if that was a good move for him. That's just my opinion.
Time will tell.
Yeah, time will tell. Let us know your opinions, Liverpool fans who watch this as well. If you feel like he is the right signing, great. Otherwise, who else would you bring in? Let us know. Cool. All right, what we'll do, we'll go to a quick interval. When we come back, we have Manchester United, and it's not pretty. So we will be back right after this. Add us up on the social media platforms, and we'll be back in a couple of seconds. who, what, where? How do we get right there? Like, nah.
Arsenal's Europa League group, isn't it?
Alright, we're back. Yeah, thanks for staying with us, people, if you're still here. If you're not, then, well, fuck you, you should still be. But ultimately, we're going to talk a little bit about Manchester United. It's one of the shorter podcasts we're doing in the series, because realistically, we can only dress things up so much. Like, there's not a lot happening right now. United, right? I'm sick of talking about... I'm sick of hearing about. I'm sick of seeing Bruno Fernandes. The guy's had the longest fucking med. Even he started crying.
Yeah.
A Liverpool fan put on Twitter that Bruno Fernandes started crying when he found out he had to play alongside Phil Jones and Chris Smalling. And you know what? I would as well.
I would do the same.
I would do the exact same. I would do the exact same. But I'm sick of hearing his name. I'm sick of hearing Milinkovic-Savic's name. I'm sick of hearing Harry Maguire's name.
Yeah.
Sick of the transfer window, to be honest with you. I'm just fucking sick of it.
Sick of Lukaku.
Lukaku. Everybody's doing nothing but doing something but doing nothing. I don't even care anymore. Like, just end it. Just please put me out of my misery. Like, it's the hope that kills you. It is. We said this multiple times. I go on Twitter, right, and the amount of bullshit I see, I don't even care. I kind of wish I was still locked out of my Twitter account. I'm not going to lie. And I love Twitter.
It's a quieter place, isn't it?
I love Twitter, but oh my God, it's just
kind of
a cesspit at times, like, as well.
I kind of just want to wake up the day after deadline day and just kind of see what happened.
Yeah, do you know what? Yeah, just wake me up when it's over, type of thing.
Just like wake up one morning. Oh, did the window close yesterday? Yeah. Oh, so who do we sign? And then just be surprised either way.
Yeah, no, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I remember the year United signed Falcao. I was in the Irish countryside visiting my brethren, and I had no signal, and I was on my way to Dublin Airport. And I turned on my phone because I had signal in wherever I was at that point. Probably quite close to Dublin, actually, because it was proper country, like proper sticks. Oh, yeah. And I turned on my phone. I saw United had Falcao. I was like, oh, all right. I missed all the bullshit that went with it. I turned it on and I saw it, and I was like, it was a nice surprise.
When something creeps out of nowhere.
Yeah, ultimately he flopped like fuck. But at the time you're like, oh, this is good news.
Same with Di Maria. I remember I was out somewhere with Reece at the time, and the Sky Sports notification came through on my phone, and I remember the build up to that one. It wasn't that much talk about it, and I was just
very
like,
little.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I like it when transfers used to be done like that, though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You just go, how much is that lad worth? And the club would be like, well, he's about 35. Like, all right, we'll give you 35. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you're buying a Citroen Saxo on Gumtree where you haggle them
Nowadays,
down.
It doesn't matter how much the player's worth as such anymore. No, it's how much the club have got.
Manchester United have been linked with Bruno Fernandes since at least the end of the season, right? And it has not evolved into anything. No. And there's about 10 days left of the window, and it still hasn't evolved into anything, and it probably won't unless Pogba goes, as we discussed in the talk just before the interval. Alright, United talk, right? We won't bore everyone too much with it, or we'll go over it because some of it is actually very interesting. Now, Ed Woodward made this quotation. You may have heard it, you may not have heard it, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. Cool. We can do things in the transfer market other clubs can only dream of. Let's have a moment of silence for that, because that did not age well. Now, on June 29th, after Aaron Wan-Bissaka signed for Manchester United, Ed Woodward emailed all the Manchester United staff, big email around the company. He said, expect more exciting signings. We're going to go out and get the best players. It's going down. Do you know what? Today is July 29th. They still haven't signed anyone else. They haven't done a fucking thing. Now, there is a group of United fans out there. You might not have seen this today. I was before Becky came. I was looking at it briefly just to sort of get some sort of context, because I saw a few things on Twitter about it. So I googled it, and there's a group called the Voice of United. Now, they delivered an open letter to the club.
Family, is it?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, you did see it. Oh, you're probably well versed in it then. So in it, there's just a few interesting bits. They asked like 5 or 6 questions of the Glazers. One of the questions is, why has Ed Woodward been given a 60% pay rise? Yeah. That's outrageous, given the fact his performance in the transfer market has been abysmal. Yeah. Utterly abysmal.
It went from, I think it was 2.5 million to 4.5 million.
Yeah, I think it's 4.6, give or take.
Yeah.
Horrendous from Manchester United. The group then basically of United fans go on to say that the debt United have could take 158 years to be fully paid off.
At the rate they're doing it.
At the rate they're doing it. So the interest is massive. The club is saddled with debt. From what I saw on Twitter, I don't know how true it is, because I follow a few bits and pieces regarding United, and one of the lads that's apparently well versed in what's going on at United was saying that they can only bring in players for the amount they sell players. So, for example, Maro and Fellaini left for 8 million. Solskjaer's only given 8 million to buy new players, which is why players like James Garner, Angel Gomez are coming in because they're free. It's not that they are very good, talented players, might I add. But what he was saying essentially is that those players are coming in because United don't have the money, which is bizarre when you think about it, right? But what he says actually makes an awful lot of sense because United haven't fully replaced Ander Herrera yet. He's gone. They haven't fully replaced Fellaini. He's gone. They've given new contracts to Jones, Smalling, and did Young get a new contract?
I think he did, yeah.
Basically, because United cannot command transfer fees for these players, what they're basically saying is if United sell a player for 12 million, they're not going to give United 30 million to spend because they've only got 12 million coming in. So the Glazers are really wringing the neck of United from a business standpoint. And fair play to those fans because something does have to be done about that now because there's no way that Manchester United should be coming to the last week of the transfer window having signed a very good right back and a right winger from a mid-table championship club being outspent by Leicester and Aston Villa.
Yeah.
And Arsenal now as well, might I add, who apparently had nothing. What's your take on it, bro?
Yeah, I do think it will change. Like, whether it's just another case of it's the hope that kills you, but I do think that there's still going to be a big chunk of money to be spent between now and the window closing. It'll be a lot later than what I wanted it to be.
Is it too late in a sense that it's reactive and not proactive?
I don't. If it's Maguire, for example, if they stump at the 80 million and they get Maguire, I don't think that is a case of being too late. Should it have been done sooner? Yeah, of course. But
here's the thing, though. You say that, right? United have just essentially caved. What they should have done 3 weeks ago, and if they give Leicester what they want, right, in the final week of the transfer window, they may as well have done it 4 weeks before the transfer window.
Yeah, well, it's arse backwards, isn't it?
It is arse backwards. Just identify what you need, pay the money, and get on with it. We said this a million times, bro.
But, it's not news to us that Ed Woodward is not the best negotiator of transfer deals.
Bro, it's alarming.
He can negotiate a brilliant sponsorship deal.
Yeah, no, he's terrific at that. He's very good at it.
But there's a place for that. There should be a director of football. And I don't want to go too in-depth about it, but, when they signed Dan James and then followed it up quite quickly with Wan-Bissaka, we were like, okay, this is an okay start, yeah. The right back position seems like it could be solved, and then we've got a talented youngster as a prospect. So
as you said,
we'll take that and see where it goes. But we need more. And at the time, the deal for Wan-Bissaka, 28th of June, went through. Obviously, still plenty of time.
That took a while as well. That took an awfully long time.
And you thought, let's kick on. Let's get a centre half and a midfield player, and we'll see where it goes from there. But it's just been slow. And it's just been so... I don't know how to describe it. It's so frustrating, but yet not surprising.
No, something eventually has to give now at Manchester United because if United go into the new season, bear in mind, as we discussed last week, Solskjaer said that the squad needs a radical overhaul. And he said there's a lot of players playing at this club that will not be here next season.
Say that, yeah.
He said that specifically. Now, if they come into the season with just a right back and a right winger from a championship club, that is a very poor transfer window.
He's saying that there's loads of players who won't be here. There's only one player that's actually left, and that's Ander Herrera.
Yeah.
Valencia, you can't count him because he was on the reserve anyway.
Yeah, he was injured for most of it anyway. Yeah.
So, of all the players that Solskjaer said wouldn't be here next season, who are they? Because they're all still there.
Well, I don't know the lineup, right? Because he said this after the Cardiff game, and I don't remember the exact lineup of that game, but there was a good few people there, and I just don't understand it. Yeah. I do not understand what's going on at that football club anymore.
In amongst all of this as well, now, the Maguire and the Bruno Fernandes deals, if they both go over the line, obviously it'd be much later than we thought, but that wouldn't be bad business, right?
No, do you know what, it wouldn't, but I have my doubts about it happening.
But yeah, and so do I, but I know there will be questions raised as to say, well, why wasn't this done 3-4 weeks earlier or a month earlier, right? But the one good thing that could come out of this, and I really stress the word could, is because Solskjaer has had to promote a lot of youth now.
Yeah.
Obviously, the pre-season's gone very well, almost too well. And you look at the contrast in Liverpool's pre-season, Arsenal's pre-season, shocking pre-season. But that means nothing, right?
It doesn't mean anything. Pre-season is not a barometer for how the league
Sky
will go.
Sports are sort of putting out a lot of articles saying, should Liverpool fans be concerned? Has Klopp got a problem in his hands? Probably not. I'd imagine, they look defensively frail, but it's different circumstances, isn't it?
I saw there was a bit of a bust-up between Van Dijk and Klopp as well on the sideline.
Apparently so,
yeah. Apparently, yeah. Not that it's a massive thing.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I have no doubt that come the first weekend of the Premier League season, Liverpool and City will be back to their best, right?
Yeah, same, 100%.
But if it just so happens to be that United don't make any more signings and they have a lot of youth in that squad, I'll back it.
Well, realistically, in terms of managing expectations, right, the United team, as I said earlier, they're not going to win a major title. I don't think they'll win what you would call an insignificant trophy, like a Europa League or a League Cup or an FA Cup. I don't think they'll win anything. I think United's best bet is to come in the top four and keep building. But at the same time, that's a squad that lacks an awful lot of quality. It still does, bro. It's still missing it's still missing minimum 3 or 4 players. They can pull it out the bag. There's talk of if Pogba does go, then United would get Milinkovic, Savic and Fernandes.
The thing is that
we'll see.
How long's left of the transfer window, you say?
It closes. It either closes the day before the Liverpool game or the day of the Liverpool game.
Pogba ain't going anywhere now. It's just not happening. It's too late.
Well, like we said, it's all dependent on Bale. If Bale goes, that frees up 600k a week.
I don't personally think that United have financial issues like that. They're saying that they do. And when Ed Woodward's saying that we can do things in the transfer market that other clubs can't, I believe him. We can. United do have, the financial sort of clout to do that.
I don't believe him, see.
100%.
I don't believe him.
I just don't think they want to spend it.
Well, this is the thing. If you're going to query... They did it in Jose Mourinho's sort of last transfer window where he wanted even Perisic. They wouldn't give Inter Milan the extra 5 million, right? If you're a big club, you don't worry about 5 million. If you're going to sign a Harry Maguire and you go, we need him, we want him, he's got everything we need, he wants to come to us, you don't argue over 10 million. You don't. If you're a big club, it doesn't take you 3 or 4 weeks to negotiate a deal for Dan James or Aaron Wan-Bissaka because you're a big club.
Just think that's Ed Woodward.
You just pay. You identify what you need. You pay it. You go forward. It's very unprofessional from Manchester United.
If they had a good director of football, there wouldn't be those issues.
I still think those issues exist with the Glazer family, bro. I do. I think they're trying to save as much money as possible.
But I just don't. I don't think that we don't have enough money. I just think they have an issue with spending it.
Yeah, that's a valid shout. Yeah, I'd agree with that to a degree.
You look at the revenue and the turnover that United generate, or the sponsorship deals that they have, the in terms of fan base, the biggest club in the world, right? And just everything that goes with it, the TV deals, the shirt sales, they come either top or right up close to the top of every single metric and chart, right? The money is there.
So the question is then, where is that money going?
Well, we'd be damned if I know exactly where it's going, but it's being held by the Glazers and Ed Woodward somewhere.
This is the issue a lot of United fans have. It's like, if you have that money, then where is it going? Because it isn't being reinvested in the club. The stadium needs, to be done up. It's leaking all over the fucking shop, and the defence is leaking all over the fucking shop, and everything is leaking, and Ed Woodward is not putting his hand in his pocket. And if you claim to be the biggest sporting franchise in the world and you can do things that other clubs can't do, you don't argue over £10 million. You make it happen, you move on, and you get everyone prepared. United are essentially going into the new season, right? They could be having 2 brand new midfielders. Let's say for example, Fernandes and Milinkovic-Savic to arrive. You have two midfielders then who have had no pre-season with that club. They don't know any of their teammates. They don't speak the language. They don't know the culture. You then have to integrate them into your side. There's immediate pressure on them. Immediate pressure. It's not smart. It isn't a good idea. And this all should have been handled a long time ago. It should have been handled about a month ago.
The Maguire one would slot in a little bit more straightforward than that.
Well, this is it. This is why Maguire right now would be a sensible signing, because he's Premier League ready.
Yeah.
That's I mean,
he speaks English.
Yeah, and you could make the argument for Koulibaly, right, and go, well, why not go out and get Koulibaly and spend roughly the same amount? Koulibaly doesn't speak the language. Koulibaly doesn't know the Premier League. Koulibaly would take time to integrate, whereas Maguire, he would be a lot quicker. So
I don't understand why still nobody's taking a punt on Alderweireld either.
Well, his release clause is
25 million.
Well, no, the release clause is gone. It's only there for a certain amount of time, you see, in the window. So that 25 million release clause is now, from what I gather, disappeared. So he's back up to the 40s and 50s if you want to buy him. So that release clause is done now. There was a time lapse on it. It was in the paper. I think it was last Thursday that release clause finished. So there's in that transfer window, there's a period where you could buy him for that amount, but no one ever did for whatever reason.
Which baffles me.
Yeah, strange, because he would have been an absolute bargain.
I think he's the second best centre half in the Premier League.
Really? I would say he's the third. I would say Van Dijk. I would say Laporte, and then I would say Alderweireld.
I would say Alderweireld on his day when he's not injured. I would say, yeah, he's right about Van Dijk, second best.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon.
Look, that's easily the top three, irrespective of whether you put, Van Dijk's obviously first, but whether you put, the other two, you can mix and match. But yeah, it's interesting, bro. It's interesting. Sad times for being a United fan right now. It really is. The fact that Aston Villa are outspending them significantly.
If you're based on a pre-season, it's a great time at the moment.
Well, again, do you know, right? Somebody wrote an article about United's pre-season, and I found it very interesting because it broke it down quite well, and it's quite logical. They were playing Perth. Perth are no great shakes, right? So they should be beating them anyway. And they arrived a week before Leeds in Australia, so they already had a week's advantage over Leeds. And they had played 2 games before they got to Inter Milan, and that was Inter Milan's first game. So again, they were significantly far ahead in terms of their fitness. So United have consistently been one step ahead of the opposition. Yeah. Whereas I don't know, is it maybe
the only one I really looked into a bit further was the Spurs game.
And the Spurs game, they did okay. Spurs give them a bit more of a test. So yeah.
But the past will tell us. The last 2 or 3 seasons, if not more, under United, I remember many a pre-season where they won every game.
Well, there was one season with Van Gaal where they won absolutely everything.
They wiped the floor with everyone, yeah.
They were utter piss then in the season,
So you can't read into that at all.
Yeah, no, that's true. Very true. But we don't want to bore you all with United too much. That's just me and Becky venting about it because ultimately they should be doing more, but they're not. That aside, bro, do you have anything else that you would like to relay to the British and worldwide public?
I believe, for now, that is it.
For now, that is it. We will be back next week, though. Hopefully.
Always leave them wanting more.
Hopefully, yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, we'll leave you on a cliffhanger. I don't know how this is going to evolve over the next week, if it does at all, because it's the weirdest transfer window ever. Yeah. Everybody's doing something but doing nothing at the same time. We're just looking. Inter is still working on a Lukaku deal. Inter, I can't even be asked to talk about it, right? Because I'm so just bored of it.
I mean, by the time this video comes out, it could have all changed again. So.
Well, yeah, this video should come out on. Well, we're recording tonight. Tonight's the Monday. This should be out on the Wednesday at the latest. Will there be any developments? Come back next week and find out. Me and Becky will be back. So add us up on the social media platforms. If you want to discuss anything transfer related with us or anything about your club in general, let us know. We're always happy to be sociable. But that aside, we're out until next week. Thank you again very much for watching, people. Take care. Ciao.